Awesome.
All right. Well, everybody, in case you've been watching my ineptitude of getting organized here, this is Zane with Sailing Views. I need you to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We need that. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce to you Eduardo Cordero. Now, Eduardo is just a beast of a sailor. He is a sunfish guru. He's won 8 world championships. How many midwinters have you won?
Uh, I don't know, five. I don't know.
I know you beat me twice by 1 point, so
Yeah.
you've won at least two. Because those two pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because yeah, but he's won it all. Everybody, he is just the sunfish master. He's done it all. He's broken every record. Uh, so say hi, Eduardo.
Hi, everybody. Just thank you for having me. It's I've been watching some of these interviews, and they're quite entertaining.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm glad you're doing this. I guess it keeps everybody entertained during these COVID-19 weird times.
yeah, and I hope it does keep people entertained. I don't know. I try to watch some of them, and I realize that I'm kind of boring, and I don't know. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump in some of these questions that I have. And I know you've seen the videos, you know the 20 questions I
Yeah.
ask. All right, so how did you get started sailing?
I
And by the way, tell everybody where you're from so they
I
know.
was born in Spain, and when I was 9 years old, I moved to Venezuela in South America on the Caribbean coast. And at age 11, my parents signed me up for sailing classes. And we, um, we joined the sailing school in Puerto La Cruz. Puerto La Cruz was the site of the 1983 Pan Am Games, well, the sailing events of the Pan Am Games. Um, so it seems like a cool thing to do. And literally, a friend of mine, my neighbor, had been asking me, "Hey, you gotta join the Boy Scouts," because he kept asking me, "Yeah, you gotta come with me." He'd been trying to sign me up for 6 7 months, and when I told him, "Well, I'm finally gonna go," the following weekend I signed up for sailing classes, and I never tried out the Boy Scouts. So um, when so being the site of the Pan Am Games, Puerto La Cruz is a wonderful natural harbor, what you call them. I mean, you have
Yeah.
trade winds blowing pretty much every day. Um, we don't have any seasons, so it's rainy and dry season. Dry season, it's the rain season is like the hurricane season in the northern part of where we are, right, in the
Yeah.
northern Caribbean. So you get a stronger wind in the winter time, and lighter and a little warmer and humid in the summer. But for the most part, you can literally sail every day. So I got started at age 11, and I sailed with a few sailing instructors in J24s and Solings, but within a month, I was sailing my own sunfish.
That's what
And
I
that's
was.
how I got introduced to the sport, sailing a sunfish.
That's
We
what I was
didn't
going
have
to
any
say.
optimists, we didn't have 420s, nothing. Sunfish was the only boat we had in that part of the country.
Yeah. So y'all had like some old beater J24s and other boats, and then Sunfish, and that was it. Um,
Yes.
Now, were those like leftover world boats or something like that, or were they just from the heyday of Sunfish when they were just sold to every hotel in the world?
I think that's the latter. Yeah, the
Yeah.
latter. Yeah, although Venezuela had already organized two Sunfish Worlds in the 70s,
Right.
the 71st, 1971 and 1976.
Yeah.
Now, there's a big club in near Caracas called Puerto Azul. I mean, they probably had like 700 boats there. I don't know, a gazillion of them. Puerto La Cruz was, isolated pockets of sailing enthusiasts that did sunfish because, I guess, as you said, there were a few already in hotels, and it was the cheapest boat you could get.
Yeah.
Um, there were no lasers at the time before the Pan Am game, so sunfish it is for everybody.
And you know what? Look at it now. Look at yourself now. I mean, 8 world championships later. So, who taught you? Who made you really good back then? Or did you just go
So
teach yourself?
no, I was lucky enough to grow with Umberto Costanzo.
I know
He
him.
started the
Yeah.
sailing school in Puerto La Cruz.
Yeah.
You might have met his son Mauricio sailing sunfish at the
Ah,
World
that's who it
War.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mauricio Costanzo. Yeah, he and I. He knocked me out of the top five at one of my worlds in Curacao by.
Yeah, I remember the first time we raced against each other in Curacao. Mauricio told me, "Man, that guy is saying it's a pain in the butt."
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that's the first time I sailed against you. So Umberto, Mauricio's father, taught me pretty much everything I know about sailing.
okay,
He started the sailing school and he put on a great program that, we all grew up sailing sunfish.
yeah,
Mauricio came afterwards. Mauricio was trying 470s for the Olympics at some point, but, running an Olympic campaign in Venezuela, it's pretty difficult.
yeah. Everything's
I
got
know
to
it's
be shipped
difficult in
in.
the US. Imagine in a country where
You can't get things. Yeah,
no, nothing can get built. I mean, it's everything. It's upside down. So I, I mean, I'm fortunate that I grew up with the two of them teaching me. I mean, Umberto taught me discipline, the art of hard working,
hmm,
doing it every day, and no quitting, and just keep pushing harder. And I learned a lot from Mauricio with regards to tactics and get to the next level.
yeah,
And one year we decided, well, there's not much we're doing here in Venezuela, sailing sunfish against each other. So let's just go to the US and see where we are.
yeah,
And that's how we started sailing sunfish internationally in '91. That was my first year racing the midwinters in Satellite Beach,
yeah,
Florida. So yeah, those two people, and of course the support of my mother,
yeah,
obviously very important. But the two key individuals were Mauricio and his father Umberto that
yeah,
got me to where I was in the sunfish class at some point.
yeah. That's amazing. You brought up Mauricio. Like I said, I've been thinking about that guy as I've
Yeah.
had these interviews lately. I keep thinking about things that could have gone, things that could have gone, and we ran into something that Mark Rounding, you know, me either pushing it, but I think he came in on port. I don't know. Either way, he didn't get thrown out.
That
I
was
did.
almost 30 years ago. So
Yeah, I know. It was a
nobody
while ago.
remembers.
It was a long time ago, but I remember it, and I just remember feeling slighted. But then again, that's me. So, all right. So great. How early were you when you realized you were good, or did you realize you were good, or did it take you to win something big, or what?
I well, I never thought I mean, to be honest with you, I don't consider myself anything extraordinary. I think I was just a guy that worked a little harder than anybody else, and I knew I wanted to get there. I mean, I was reading the Sunfish because again, Sunfish was the only boat of choice we had. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know very well that every athlete's dream is going to the Olympics. Well, we all wanted to get there at some point. I just couldn't do it with the type of boats that were available. Even,
Right.
I mean, I could have shot for a 470. But going back to the Sunfish, so I knew who the world champions were, and I, reading about it on the windward leg, and knowing, oh, that's Bob Finlay, oh, that's Scott Kyle, oh, look at Bruce Sutton, Malcolm Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up reading about these guys, and I wanted to be a top sailor one day. I didn't know how I was going to get there. Um, we were lucky because with Umberto's coaching, style of management, you could say, he would get us on the water every weekend and do short races, and then twice or three times around the race course, and then go back in, debrief. Hey, you did this, the tactics, you should have done that. We had a lot of instantaneous feedback. We learned a lot of about tactics,
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest with you, I was not the fastest sailor in the group. I mean, if I was after 3 or 4 years of sailing, I reached a certain level, there could have been a new guy that got to the same spot where I was in terms of skills within months. I mean, I'm a very slow learner, and if you learn how to do roll tack well in 10 attempts, I'll probably have to try 500 times to get it right once, and I'll still have to do it again. So I was never, I mean, I knew I wanted to be a world champion, but it never occurred to me it was going to happen before, reaching my 30s, because I went to my first Worlds in 1991, and I won the first one in '93. So it was a little.
It
I mean,
was
I was
quick.
shocked.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was quick.
yeah, it was quick. Of course, this wasn't a one-person effort. I
Yeah,
had Umberto, I had Mauricio, and everybody else at the sailing school. Other guys that you might have heard of,
yeah,
like Hector Vidal.
yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of
I mean,
Alex Godoy.
your
Had a lot
little
of
your little group was really good
yeah.
because
I
I
mean,
remember when
Rod,
y'all came
Rod
up, y'all were really
Favela.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Rod. I mean, we had a lot of people. We used to sail against each other literally every weekend, and during the summer breaks, we used to sail literally every day.
yeah.
So my success was the product of the whole effort. So I was just the guy that was out there more often than anybody else. That was it.
Well,
I mean, I
see,
just tried a little harder.
you're gonna say all that, and I'm gonna disagree with you because, and you say you're slow. Now I will admit you were not fast upwind,
No,
because I know I've ground you down, rolled you, and thought I had you, but I would force you towards the middle, and you know me, I'm always taking
yeah,
each outside, uh, and you would squeak by somehow. And how you really did it was downwind, and you had perfected the master of the S turn. And like when we were having our really good battles, I was coming off of lasers and
yeah,
getting my tail kicked in by Shite and Tan Shite and all these guys were great at downwind, and you were the first to make it in at Sunfish. And I mean, I
yeah.
was,
Downwind. Yeah,
yeah,
I I, I, I mean, let's just be honest. I'm not really smart at tactics. I just knew how to make a sunfish sail faster. And of course, when you sail much faster, you look like a genius out there on the race course. Let's be honest.
yeah.
But
I look really smart sometimes.
but if you put me in a slow boat, believe me, I'm gonna do stupid stuff too. So yeah, downwind. That's how we started really improving.
Yeah,
It's a good thing that you brought up the upwind thing. The year the Sunfish class introduced the new composite dagger board,
yeah.
all of the sudden I started sailing fast upwind. So I must have been doing something wrong with the old wooden board,
Well,
maybe choking the main sheet too tight.
no, dude. See, you didn't have the boards. Like when I was growing up, remember the rules were pretty open. They were all wooden, and you
Yeah,
gotta realize, like Bruce Suffin, myself, and the Stifle clan here, Todd
yeah,
Edwards, we all had different boards, and I was lucky enough where my dad was buying old boats from dead boats from yacht clubs, and we'd get an extra centerboard,
yeah,
and so I'd reshape them, and then I had 15 boards, so I'd go to a midwinters and I'd have a board made for light air, medium air, for
yeah.
every
That was
wind
enough.
range.
I
You know,
saw I witnessed that when I started coming to the States, and
yeah,
see, I noticed like Jeff
yeah,
Rodcock, those guys had two or three boards.
yeah.
Didn't
Jeff
make any sense to
Rodcoke,
me.
yeah, Jeff and Rodcoke had them, or Jeff Linton, Rodcoke,
Yeah.
myself. There were several of us that had. I mean, we would show up with a quiver of centerboards and rudders for every condition.
I
And
just had a Barrington board.
yeah,
I think at the very end of it, I put some fiberglass in the leading edge. To
oh,
me, that was a waste of time because at the end, it wasn't one design.
see,
Everybody else had their own thing.
oh
So
yeah,
what
well,
I saw a breakthrough on my upwind speed when the one design composite dagger board was introduced, and the worlds that I won in '93 in Virgin Gorda, that was the first time we ever used it.
yeah,
So I was shocked because I was at that regatta, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be another light air event. I'm going to struggle. And all of a sudden, I'm doing like top 5 finishes. Like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden, I found that missing, fifth gear. And that's how I won the Worlds the first time. So, again, there were a lot of things that happened before I won the first Worlds. But
yeah.
so I never thought I was going to do it so early.
Well,
But
equalizing the boards, I think, was a big thing to
was a
bring the Sunfish
was a
back.
smart decision for the class. I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the time I was against it. I was for it and against it. Trust me, I wanted a more efficient board, and
yeah,
but I was also kind of against it because remember I had learned doing fiberglass work and speed
yeah,
work through Donnie Brennan, who's the Olympic boat right for the U.S. and I was pretty confident in my shapes, and and trust me, I'm not gonna lie, those helped me. Being able to have a good tool shop and a workshop and be able to trick everything out. I loved it.
Me on the other hand, I grew up working on doing so much fiberglass when I was younger that when I finally came something that you had to do nothing,
Yeah,
I was happy
yeah.
because I hate working on a boat.
Yeah, yeah. So do I, and I'm
Yeah,
still doing it in my backyard
yeah,
every day. I just installed a set of bulkheads for a J22 literally 3 hours ago. So yeah.
yeah. So
Um, but all right, so after the boards came in and you won your first worlds, you still didn't think you were really good. Now, why is
well,
that?
then after winning the first worlds, I said, well, maybe I must be doing something better.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it was a turning point on my sailing career, if you can call it that,
Oh
back
yeah,
in the day. And then I come back to the States, and then I win the midwinner. So I thought, well, maybe
now was
I'm
that which one was that?
94.
All right,
Yeah.
that was the first year I got second. Yeah,
So yeah, so I won the 94 midwinner. So after winning the world, so I thought, oh, well, maybe I'm not as bad as I thought I was.
see,
Again, I always had a good, a big group of
people.
teammates at the
Yeah,
school that made it possible. We knew that we always wanted to bring the Sunfish Worlds to Puerto La Cruz, and we 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 all hope that if that ever happened, we knew that we were going to get 5 sailors in the top 10. And one year, my two teammates, Hector and Alex,
you
we
were
were from
one,
the
two,
same
three.
team. We were
Yeah,
1, 6, and 11th.
yeah.
So literally almost the three of
See,
us got in the top 10. So I had a really good, supporting team, and that made it easier for me.
yeah,
Because, yeah, you can do things on your own. So so it was, that's when I thought, well, so after going back to 94, so I win that event, I say, oh, okay, maybe I'm up to something here.
yeah. All right, now I'm about to do something online that I've never done, and I haven't done this before. But I'm about to smoke cigarettes. I know this interview's going to take a while.
Hey,
Now,
go for it, man.
now, for those of y'all that don't know me and do watch the channel, one thing I am known for is smoking cigarettes while sailing. You will almost always see me with a cigarette in my mouth on the water. Uh, Eduardo, what do you think? I mean, how many times have you seen me sailing? And yeah,
Yeah. Hey,
it's
makes you happy, man. Go for it.
everybody used to be astounded because back in the 90s, at 94, 95 range, when I was kind of peaking in my sailing career, I was racing lasers and doing really well. And everybody's like, who is this guy with cigarettes? He's got cigarettes duct taped to his mast. What is up with this kid? And, for me, it was like, I need a cigarette for the start. I'd suck on the butt for the rest of the race and then do it again at the finish. And it drove everybody crazy that I could do as well as I did, chain smoking cigarettes like I do. Anyway, all right, where were we? Now I've definitely gotten off train here, especially being live like this. All right, so let's. I'm going to skip over what you do for a living because I know you do computer work and software, and let's just leave it at that. Um, what?
Not something like that. Yeah, but I don't work for the industry. If that is the question. No, I'm totally isolated from the sailing industry these
Yeah,
days.
yeah. Now we were talking earlier before we went live here, and you were trying to get into coaching. Are you working too much? Is just our area not good for it? What?
Yeah, I mean, I live 90 minutes from the coast,
Mm,
and our office here is in Southeast Alabama, so we're pretty far. I mean, it's not say pretty far. I'm 3 hours away from Fairhope, from where you are.
yeah.
It's just I don't have it in me anymore to spend the
Ma-
weekend driving. I mean,
yeah.
I did that when I moved to Alabama in '07. I had just moved from New York, and I was literally on the road every weekend.
Yeah.
In fact, I spent a lot of time in Fairhope before the 2007 Pan Am Games training because that was the closest venue on there with L.A. Raymond at Fairhope Yacht Club.
L.A. Ray, Kevin
Yeah.
Northrup. Yeah.
So, but I did so much, uh, you know, driving on the weekends to go sailing that I just got tired of it. So
Yeah.
so that's why I haven't been coaching too much, because we work long hours during the week, and believe me, the last thing I want to do is get on the car on Friday to go coaching on a Saturday. So I'm kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
my temporary break is just becoming a change of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time in the water lately.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's change it back to the water. Who are some of your blah, blah, better battles with? Was it you and Loring, you and Linton, you and
I
Scott
would say
Kyle,
Malcolm.
Malcolm?
Malcolm Smith.
Really?
Yeah, I in '93 when I won my first Worlds, Malcolm was leading from day one. I think from day two,
Uh huh.
and he was on his way to win his first World Championship after, I don't know, 15 tries,
Yeah.
and I took it away from him on the last day.
Uh, Got it.
And
I love Malcolm. And
yeah, and yeah, back in the day, we weren't very friendly to each other. So in '93, I mean, we respected each other as a sailor, but we weren't very friendly. I'm not. We were
no,
just racing to
yeah.
win. So in '93, the first 3 days of the world was kind of light air. On the last day of the regatta, when the wind picked up, I made the jump and I took first place. And I literally took it away from him. So the following year, talking about these battles, the following year we went to Bermuda, and it was the complete opposite. I was leading from day one to day three, and I fell apart on the last day of the regatta, and he won the worlds.
Nice. Yeah. Good for
And
Malcolm. You know.
yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, I was really upset, but I felt very happy for him. So we became really good sailing friends, and I mean, some of my best battles in the '90s were against Malcolm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he and I
See.
were 1 and 2 at the Worlds so many times,
Yeah.
and at the Pan Am Games too. So we
See, you guys, y'all had those battles in those early '90s, and those early
yes, that,
'90s.
that was in the '90s.
Yeah,
Yes.
because those were the years I checked out and started sailing lasers. And I know
Yeah.
you jumped into lasers and tried doing lasers and radials and playing with full rigs and both of the boats. And you didn't have this quite the success.
No.
You were small, but then again, I was scrawny. And we were about the same size. I was, granted, I got a foot of height on you, but
Yeah.
which helped for hiking. But
Yeah.
why didn't you make that transition in lasers, or was it just lack of time in the boat, not good boat? What?
I didn't have the same kind of environment that I had growing up with the Sunfish fleet, and it was more costly
Yeah, oh yeah,
to grow as a laser sailor. But remember when it was introduced as an Olympic class,
yeah,
you had to be in Europe. Let's be
yeah,
honest. I mean,
yeah.
so
You had to go to
I
Europe. If
and,
you,
and at being 5.5 feet, I could have been a little heavier, but my body falls apart. I've never been the. I mean, and again, you see my workout stuff back there. I use it literally. That gets used nearly every day. But my fitness did not allow me to overcome
yeah,
the lack of height,
height, yeah,
to be competitive. So I did a little bit of full rig lasers, maybe for 2-3 years. I think I was top 10 at the U.S. Nationals one year. But then I switched to the radial because I thought, the radial feels a little bit like, to me,
yeah.
I was built more for a radial type
Oh yeah,
body weight. So, I mean, it kind of felt almost the same. And it's a hard boat.
See.
It was hard for me. You
Yeah.
have to hike hard. It's difficult going downwind. And actually, when I was switching back and forth between radials and sunfish, I got even better at
yeah,
sailing downwind in a sunfish. So, for a while, I sailed the two boats. I mean, I would come to Florida and do the radial midwinters, and then go to the sunfish midwinters.
Now,
And one year, I was in second place at the radial worlds, and I fell apart in the finals when the wind got a little lighter. But I
Yeah.
did spend some considerable time in the radial. So, yeah, I mean, Mother Nature didn't give me, that extra, you know,
Human lever.
5, 6 inches to be a
Yeah.
little more competitive. I
Yeah.
know there are sailors my size that have been very successful in the laser. My body just couldn't take it. I mean, my knees fell
Yeah.
apart. I had bad shoulder,
So let's
bad
speak.
shoulders,
I
bad
want to.
elbows.
I want to speak about somebody your size, David Loring. What are your thoughts on him?
Oh man,
He's
he's
what?
another great guy. We after losing the worlds to Malcolm in '94, I lost the worlds to David in '95 at the Bahamas.
Uh,
And I also had really fierce battles against him, but I didn't sail that much against him as I did against Malcolm and other guys like Jeff Linton or Paul John.
yeah.
So Dave Loring, I mean, literally, we are pretty much the same size.
Yeah.
I'm just now a little heavier. It's more trim sailing
Well,
these
he
days.
he's getting fat too, so it's okay. We're all getting a little bigger.
Yeah,
But
but no, and it's a good thing that you bring Lauren up because we sailed against each other in Charleston last year at the North Americans. That was a lot of fun. I really missed not sailing against him because he and I, when the wind picked up in a couple of races, we were up there, and the younger guys in their 20s training for the Pan Am
yeah,
game.
they don't understand. Yeah,
I mean, I said, I told David, man, I mean, we're in our mid 40s and we're still kicking these guys' butt.
yeah. The treachery we learned in that early '90 time
Yeah.
frame when basically when lasers win Olympics,
Yeah.
we all learned to just okay. You have to learn how to hike so hard your body is going to die, and you have to leave it on the table. And that's something I've been coaching a little bit of laser kids now, and they just don't get it. I'm like, no,
Oh my God.
your knees are past the edge of the boat. You have to just straight leg. Like you don't get it. The amount of pain we used to put in and sacrifice
Yeah.
ourselves is insane.
Yeah, so I ended up under the knife because of sailing lasers with remember the weight jackets we used
Oh
to
yeah,
wear?
yeah. I've got one right over here. I can pull out
Oh,
and
it's
show
like
you.
10 pounds of water.
Yeah,
My two knees got just destroyed in 2000. So I had
yeah,
knee surgery in 2001.
yeah,
That's when I realized my body type cannot withstand the abuse of laser sailing. That's it.
yeah,
It's not that I'm small because there's this Argentinian Italian guy, Diego Romero.
yeah.
He got a bronze medal at the Olympics. He got second or third at the World several times. He's not that much taller than me.
Yeah.
It's just my body. It's what it is, It's just some people are more prone to get injured than others.
Yeah. Well,
that's, genetics.
see, I like to blame it on just stupidity, because
That too. But
I've broken my own leg in attacking a laser, so I understand.
Yeah.
But
anyway, so going back to David Loring, yeah, definitely he's another guy that, being the same size, a lot of good memories racing against him.
yeah. So did we have any good battles since everybody knows here? Did we ever have any good fights? I remember at Sarasota where we beat each other to death.
Remember the midwiners that year when it got really, really cold? We got hit by a cold front.
I don't remember that, but
Okay, so it's I do remember because I read about it recently on a windward leg. So on day one of the midwinter, you and David Van Cleef are leading the race.
All right.
I'm on third place for the whole race.
Van Cleef came to my house yesterday, believe it or not.
So yeah. So the two of you have been leading the whole way, and coming into the last lure mark, I don't know who was first or second. I don't know if it was you or Dave. So the first boat jives and capsizes. And it was honking, okay?
Yeah.
So whoever was in second decided, I'm not going to jive, chicken jive, and get stuck head to wind.
Well,
She was really waving.
it was probably me that flipped because I don't chicken job. I don't
So,
put in a gin.
it might have been that. So I saw an opportunity. Well, I got to jive and see and take a chance, and I did. I actually jive and won the race by half a boat length.
I do remember that. Yeah.
It was really windy. Remember,
Yeah.
it was super cold.
The cold, I was immune to it, and as far as heavy air, I'd been sailing laser so long that at that point that I was just like, give me the breeze. I mean, I'm 165 pounds, 162 pounds, but I'm 6'2", and I could hike forever compared to anybody in sunfish in those days. And so could Van Cleef because we were both,
Yeah, he was sailing lasers
yeah,
too.
we were both doing. Both of us were, ranked top 15, top 20 in North America in lasers, so we could jump in the sunfish, and we are just like,
Yeah, you can do
yeah,
well,
yeah,
especially if it's breezy.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And when it's breezy, we did great, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I think I remember that race. Yeah, yeah. The wind was shifting over, and yeah, you wanted a job. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember the last day it came out. You and I had to beat you to tie you and win the tiebreaker or something. We had swapped off first and seconds, and it was who beat who going the last race. And God, I had you all the way around the course, and on the last run, and then we're finishing to windward. Last run, you had squirted just barely inside of me at the leeward mark. I rounded just kind of outside of you, and then tried to jump my bow over your rudder at the leeward mark to get my bow inside, and I was able to hang there for a while. I tacked, you tacked, and we sat there, and I think you and I did probably 30 tacks up the last speed because we were hundreds of yards in front of
That
everybody
might have
else.
been that regatta. Yeah.
Yeah, we were hundreds of yards in front of everybody else, and we just beat the dog mess out of each other. And
Yeah.
you end up beating me. I'm gonna blame it on the cigarettes, but
There you go.
you know, but I just remember having some really good battles with you, and I think it went over, you know, to lasers, to other regattas, and just fighting against you has always been a good time. All right, so let me move on to actually some of these questions because I have some things going on here I'm going to have to deal with here soon. What is the best regatta you've ever had? Now you've won 8 worlds. So there's got to be something that just jumps out as this was perfect.
um, yeah, I mean, nothing like winning the first one, to be honest with you. The winning in Sarasota in 2000, that was special because I came from behind. I thought I was going to lose. I was the defending world champion back then. And I think Oscar Johansson was leading the whole way. And
Yeah,
then he kind of fell apart on the last day, and I won. But there's nothing compares to winning the first time. And yeah, you can do it second, third, fourth time for your own satisfaction. I mean, it doesn't change anything. I can tell you this: one special regatta was the last Pan Am Games that I won in 2007. I had already moved to Alabama. I was I wasn't spending as much time as I used to because now I had a full time job, like a real job. So I couldn't sail in the afternoon during the weekdays. When I was living in New York, it was possible, because in the summertime you have a lot of sunlight during the day, so
yeah,
it's actually pretty good. You go and sail from 6 to 8. But moving to Alabama made it really hard. So that was my first year here in the South, and then going to Brazil, it was quite an adventure. I showed up there with a broken toe, which I broke on the last training regatta before hopping on the plane to go to Rio that evening. And then I was going. Paul Forster was there sailing for the U.S. I was still sailing for Venezuela, and that was quite an experience, being in Brazil, and I, I have I have better memories from those Pan Am Games than from the first ones I won in '03. So that was a really special win. So especially because I wasn't doing it all the time, and I was back in '07. I was overweight.
yeah.
I couldn't train, and remember I had to be on the road every weekend to go sailing, and you know how it is. You are 3 hours on the road, and then there's not much time to spare because if there is not enough wind, I mean, you're wasting your whole weekend of practice.
You know,
So it was quite an special occasion for me, winning in '07, the Pan Am Games. But yeah, I mean, winning the Worlds the first time was probably the prime rave
well,
experience.
I tell you what I'm getting out of that whole conversation is you've spent a lot of time practicing and sailing. When you go to hit a big event, you just practice all the time. And what tells me is you didn't get to practice for that one, and you felt it. But that's great to know that to be at the top of this class and the top of any class really, you've got to practice a lot, and it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time.
It, it,
You know,
it does, and in my case, as I told you earlier, I mean, if you, Zane, can get something, if you can learn a new trick in 10 tries, it'll probably take me 100 times because that's the way I am.
well,
You gotta do it over and over again. So for me, if I came back to the Sunfish class for a couple of events in 2016 and last year. Last year I didn't train as much as I should have, and I'm happy because I couldn't see myself being on the road Saturday and Sunday because I live 90 minutes from the water.
yeah,
That's an hour. That's 3 hours of road trip, 6 hours actually of commuting to go sailing every week, and I'm just tired of doing that.
yeah,
But that's the key, to get to the level. I mean, the guys that are at the Olympics these days,
yeah,
what do you think they do?
yeah. That's their
All they do
job.
is
They just sail.
and there is
Yeah,
no other way. You want to get to the top. Of course, you gotta go racing and other things in life. But in my case, the only way was just work harder and spend more hours on the water than anybody else.
yeah,
That's, as I told you, that's how I got much faster than the other Sunfish sailors because I was probably more stubborn and knew how to do it a little better.
yeah. All right. So let's jump into the next question. What's your worst regatta? Worst event? Just everything. The wheels fell off, man. I want to know when the train derailed. You got one of
Okay,
those?
this is after winning the Sunfish Worlds. I got invited to the first ISAF World Championship that they held in France.
Mm-hmm.
So being a Sunfish World Champion gave me a wild card. So there I go. All right, it's in lasers, okay, because there is no Sunfish in Europe. So
Yeah.
this was the first ISAF World Championship, and I don't know how many lasers there were. I don't know, like 160 sailors. So we were divided in 4 fleets.
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh at this. I qualify for the Emerald fleet. I mean, that's below bronze. That's how
Oh,
bad
that's
it
the
went.
bottom. There,
Now,
you're
here's
in the
what
back
happened.
group.
So I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna win.
See,
So
I
the
w-
worst
I
thing
would-
that happened.
Hold on. I went to Europe and I sucked in heavy air, and every regatta was over 20 knots, and I still qualify for Gold Fleet in every damn regatta in Europe. So come on, man.
This was
You're killing
what
me.
happened here is I couldn't sail the boat in light air. The whole qualifying of the event was the light air part. I could not figure out how to sail the laser.
A hair of fang, travel out, go bow fast, man.
So I learned my own in Venezuela, and I got something out of it. You may be able to translate some skills from the Sunfish.
Not
I couldn't
much.
get the boat going in the
Not
light
much.
air races.
Yeah, they don't. They actually don't transfer over. No.
No,
No.
not going upwind.
No.
So I got destroyed in all the light air qualifying races. Now to make it even worse, when I sail in the Emerald fleet, it starts blowing the dog off the chain. Well, guess what? I won all the races on the Emerald fleet to make it even more miserable.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm
So-
the best of the worst.
So that was my worst sailing experience ever.
Okay. I've been there. I did get stuck in a Miami
I mean, I
Olympic
wish I had made
classes.
it to the silver fleet at least,
Yeah.
just to, okay, but no, Emerald.
I got stuck at a Miami OCR Silver Fleet once, and at least I got to annihilate the Silver Fleet for that, but still embarrassing. Yeah.
No, it was comical because, I got put on with all the Emerald fleet sailors, and I'm smaller than them, but it's blowing, and I won all the races.
I gotcha. All right, so let's change the subject. What's the strangest thing you've seen floating in the water?
And a dead animal without head,
Without a head?
at the Pan Am Games. It was so we're sailing in Guanabara Bay, right?
Uh huh.
And that's where they had the Olympics last time too. And it's a great place to sail. Very tricky. You really need to know your tides and how to synchronize wind shifts and tide and current. So when the tide is coming in, it's so strong that you get all the clean water from the Atlantic Ocean. But when the tide is going out, you get all this sewer crap floating in the water.
Yeah.
And man, that was just quite an experience seeing that because it was creepy, man. And you are trying to race there, and you see a dead animal without a head, and you see it for so long. And a bunch of sailors saw it that day, so it was. I'll never forget it. I I know some people have more weird experiences on the water, but that was one that stuck with me for a long time.
I gotcha.
I don't know whether it was a gigantic dog or a pig, but it was just a headless animal. Strange.
A nice large headless animal. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourself aggressive or conservative?
Um, Conservative at the beginning of the race, aggressive at the end of the race. You know, I
Once
know
you
I keep
once you figure out who the leaders are, you just start putting the
you
hammer
go
down.
for it, but
Yeah.
I know I hear a lot of people. Oh well, if you don't get two OCSs every 10 races, you're not trying. Well, I'd rather not get one.
Yeah. I can go
Yeah.
years without getting them, and then unfortunately, my mental timing will get off, and I'll get three or four, in a couple of guys in a row. And I'm like, okay, I've
I
got
mean,
to study up on this and practice on this, and then
Paul John, Paul John and I lost the Championship of Champions to Mike Ingham for. I got two OCSs in the last. I
day,
don't know, the last day
yeah,
that killed us.
oh yeah,
And that stuck with us for a while too.
yeah,
So OCS, I mean, and I have the year I lost the Worlds to Malcolm, I was carrying an OCS, which was a second place finish. So
yeah, that hurts.
I might have blamed losing the regatta to that, but on OCS. So yeah, I think I'm more conservative at the beginning. I really need to have a game plan. With the tide, I like to go out there and I like to go out early on to the race course. I need my compass. I gotta check the angles. I gotta check the tide. I gotta get a game plan.
Yeah,
But I try to. I mean, you don't want to sail. You don't want to start the race on second row. But if you have
never.
a
Yeah,
plan, if you can execute this, say, this game plan, then I think you can start getting a little more aggressive as the race goes on.
yeah,
Unless this is the championship race.
yeah.
I
Now,
think
all right, go ahead. You said I think. Sorry,
no, I think that's the way I gotta see it. I mean, normally take your time. There's
see.
no reason to get an OCS early in the event, right?
See, all right. Not being over, I used to really think I was and pride myself in being one of the best starters around. I mean, I really did. I thought, if it's on the committee boat, no one beats me at the committee boat. No one beats me at the pin. I would concede pin every now and then, but if it's one end or the other, I will be I'm gonna win it. And especially committee boat, I still to this day feel like no one's gonna beat me at the committee boat. Uh, since my life history, you know what happened. I quit sailing for a decade. I just came back, and of course, I tried the same tactics, and just being rusty, I'd screwed up a lot. I'm over early a lot. I'm making mistakes, but since then, I've been honing it back and reeling it in and getting myself in check. Now, I'm not. I would say I'm not over early, but then again, I just did a St. Pete nudes, and I was over 3 of the 6 races. So,
Way to go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the aggressive part in the beginning, I've always been the type that believes in you've got to be in the top 10 boats off the starting lines. Say there's 40 boats, 30 boats. You've got to be in that top third, off the starting line and speed, clear air. And if you're not, then it just gets worse. All right. I always have a game plan. All right. I want to go right. I want to go left. And I generally start, okay, if I want to go left, I'm going to start closer to the pin. If I want to go right, I start at the committee boat. And I try to connect my dots to get one way or the other. And I've always felt be aggressive at the start. When you get to the top third of the first beat, you can start being a little more conservative. The first run is very conservative. On the second beat, that's when I just roll the dice, I throw them. Okay, I know this way is working or this way is working. By that point, I've kind of figured out where the wind shifts are coming, and on the last run, it's that's when I get hyper aggressive, and I don't mean like hyper aggressive. I'll be jibe at the offset, hoist late, whatever I got to do. You know, that's when I try to make massive
And,
moves. And
and
I'm
yeah, I mean that's a game plan, and I agree. And in fact, when you're at a top championship, a top level regatta, you're at the starting line. You know who the good guys are.
yeah.
And one thing that I always tell when I go coaching, make sure you know who you're starting next to. If you get caught on second row
Oh,
behind the slow boat,
you're out.
game over.
Yeah,
But if you get caught behind a fast boat, that boat is going to clear away,
he's
and give
gone.
you the opportunity to attack,
Yeah,
and then check in again, and stick to your game plan. Once you get caught behind the slow boats at the start, that's it.
yeah.
Because in a fleet of 100 boats, if you're caught if you get caught on third row at the start, I mean, that translates into worse than 90 probably from the get-go.
Yeah. And in the sunfish class, you know some of the people I'm talking about, and I'm not going to mention names, but there are some serious roadblocks that will
Absolutely.
just fast enough to keep you from getting away,
Yes.
and slow enough to just drag you out of the world. So
And
yeah,
you don't necessarily need to be the first boat, crossing the line.
yeah,
Because to stick to your game plan, you might need to fall behind a boat. Like, I mean, how many times you need to start at the committee boat and tack right away?
yeah,
So sometimes, well, you might not need to be that aggressive to be able to cross and, tack and cross and keep and separate yourself from the competition. So it's all part of how you have put together a game plan for the race based on the conditions you anticipate.
yeah.
But I would say, I again, unless it's the last race of the championship, I mean, you might, and I know that because I yell a lot on the race course.
Yeah.
That's just theatrics. I don't.
You and
I
I
don't
do
keep my
that too.
cool.
You and
Yeah,
I actually,
yeah,
we're the most vocal people on the race course, and I know
yeah.
that. We just start messing with people, talking to them, just talking smack,
Exactly.
babbling, antics. It's
It's
just
it's just part of the
noise.
game.
It's
Yes.
noise. Keep you out of your game because you know what? I'm so into mine, and if I can disturb you just a hair, I don't care how much I talk. And I know
Yeah.
you're the same way because you and I will sit there and jaw back and forth, and I know you and I will drive other people crazy because we're yelling from one side of the course to the other. Yeah, how's your shift? Oh, I lost three, but I'm coming for you. You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. The rest of the fleet doesn't understand that we're just jawing.
Yes.
Anyway, all right. So, what's one of the best maneuvers you've ever pulled off? One single maneuver, a great start, mark rounding,
Man,
finish.
I have portacked the fleet at the Worlds twice at the start, and the first time I won the Worlds because I did that.
Wow.
The second time I portacked the fleet and I didn't check in, and it cost me
Oh,
winning I mean, I don't know. I gave. That's the time I lost to David Loring. I portacked the whole fleet, and I didn't follow him, and then he ended up taking the regatta on the next to last race, and
oh,
just shot myself on the foot
yeah.
by playing my own game.
Uh,
But I mean, yeah, portacking at a world championship, that's just
yeah. 120 boats, 110 boats, and I'm out of here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have 90 boats on the water, that's don't forget those.
All right, so let's change the subject to America's Cup. What do you think of the new America's Cup format? The big boats with the I don't even know what you call them. They're like
more, I mean,
water
this is
wings,
more
man,
fun.
water bugs.
I hear a lot of experts in the industry that don't like it. They think that's not sailing anymore. In fact, the last one in Bermuda, when they have the New Zealand
Hmm.
crew, what is it that they call the cyclers?
Yeah, yeah, the cyclers. Yeah,
What, I
all
think
they
they
all they're
were
doing is pumping the hydraulics.
pumping,
Yeah,
yeah, charging the hydraulic system. Well, guess what? That's a fun race to watch because it's fast.
yeah,
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Back in the day when they had the uh, the, the bigger boats, the 75 footers,
hmm,
those were what 2 3 hour long races. They were boring to watch. I'd rather be watching kart racing because there would be some action on the water and then it's a 2 hour follow the leader.
See, I'm going to say
So
you've been in Alabama too long and you're starting to follow NASCAR too much.
I am
But
actually for the first year this time, yes. Right
okay.
now, I would kind of watch open wheel racing, but I do like this foiling setting because the race is faster. I think what they did in San Francisco was more fun to watch than the one in Bermuda
Yeah.
with the bigger boats.
Yeah.
But I know it's to some people, some pundits, it's not sailing, but hey, we all
See,
have our own, likings and
yeah.
things
I
like
mean,
that.
I'm not going to lie. I
Technology is
love,
where this
yeah.
everything these days is foiling. I
Yeah.
mean, I think when they kick the laser out of the Olympics, it'll happen. The next single-handed thing is going to be a foiling boat. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
It'll be a
That's what we're
WAF, a
going.
UFO, something like that, or
Yeah.
WASP.
So I mean, that's the future of the sport. Yes, it's not, it's not cheap for everybody to get a foiling boat, but that's where the sport, I believe, is going to go in the next 20 years.
Good, because you
So
just literally answered two questions for me. Where's the future of sailing and that one?
it's foiling. I mean, let's be. In fact, you mentioned Lauren. After sailing against each other at the NAs, he
He,
rigged his wasp and he told me let's go outside, and I loved it.
yeah.
And if I was closer to the water, that's where I'd be sailing right now because honestly, I'm a little tired of the old boats. As
Well,
much as I like a Sunfish, a Flying Scud, or a Thistle, I mean, the new boats are more fun to sail.
whichever one you get, you let me know the day you buy it. I'll buy one a week later, and
Sure thing.
yeah, we'll go play.
And I just got a friend of mine in Miami who used to sell Sunfish with me in Venezuela. He and his brother got one.
Who's that?
Jesus Salazar.
Okay, I remember
He
that
used to
name.
sell Sunfish,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody in South America sells sunfish. I was talking to Victor De Leon. I've talked to Rod
Yeah,
Favela. Everybody is a sunfish sailor. So
because we all grew up. That's the only thing we had. I mean,
right,
Victor probably sell more optics than we did, but
yeah,
for the most part, everybody sells Sunfish. So again, if I'm gonna buy me a boat to have fun, it's
you're gonna
gonna have to
foil.
be foiling.
All
And
right,
those wasps were a lot of fun,
yeah.
and they're
All right, so let's move on here to what do you think of the state of women's sailing? What can we do to help women's sailing right now, or do we need to help it?
I don't know. Everybody's making such a big deal. I mean, I'm glad to see women in sailing. I don't think, and I gotta be politically correct, so I don't, get disliked by a lot of women. It is what it is. It's, the sport is growing, and I know they are making an effort at the Olympic level to, I guess, to get the same amount of participation
Yeah,
equal to men and women.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I'm for it. And in fact, speaking of Charleston, I learned when I was there that women are not allowed to be yacht club members there.
oh yeah.
So a
That
weird
is
thing. That's
yeah,
the dumbest thing I could ever heard.
yeah. That
So
has got to change. I mean,
yeah,
that's just pathetic.
I,
Um,
I think I think I remember the first time they had a strictly women class at the Olympics. That was the 470 in '88, and I think it was a good thing to develop the sport, makes it more inclusive. David Reich and we always had a four-deck female crew. All our, when we were sailing thistles, makes
mhm.
sailing more fun. And good thing about Sunfish, I mean, you can,
The women are right there with the guys, especially
yes,
in
because on a Sunfish,
anything under 15 knots. They're generally going to beat you.
there is no other
So
boat, no other single-handed boat where women can compete
mm,
on equal terms than a man like a Sunfish, because
yeah,
you rig it in a certain way and you depower the boat. So I think world sailing is, they things that get a little political these days about including everybody. I don't want to go into that subject, but I think it's important. I mean, at the end of the day, it's another sport. Is a social activity. It makes societies grow. It contributes to our well-being, mental and health well-being. So
now,
I'm all for it.
did you ever sail against Nancy Haberlin growing
I
up
did,
in something?
yeah,
She was phenomenal.
yeah.
She could do it in 30 knots, 5
Exactly.
knots. Uh, you got Marguerite and Gail Hauser, Leslie Dane, or Leslie Weatherly Dane.
They, they,
These women can straight up kick a guy's butt any day of the week, and their biggest problem is when it pick up over that 15 knot range, they're just smaller.
But some of them, if they sail with a James rig, they can be very
Yeah,
competitive in the breeze in a sunfish.
yeah.
So, in fact,
Now,
if you
what do
bring
you?
some of the girls sailing radials at the Olympics,
Yeah. Oh, they
some
Annalise
heavy breeze, they're
and
gonna do well.
Annalise Page, Anna, all those girls can
Yeah,
kick
they'll
our
do
butt.
well. Yeah.
What do you think about in the sunfish class primarily the new Gust rig? The Greg
I,
Gust invented that funky. I
it
don't know. It moves and shifts. You know,
Well, it's like having the gens rig automatically.
wiggle. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it allows you. You know what they do? So they have two halyards, right? They have the regular halyard to sail, if you can
yeah.
call
The
it full
hoist
rig,
it. Yeah,
hoist it, and then you just detach that halyard and tie the line that has the gens rig, which they call the gust adjust. So it's really quick because in the old days, remember you have to put the upper spar down, change the halyard knot
see, I
position.
don't know because I've never used a gins rig.
That's where I was gonna go when I was sailing all the time.
I'd
For
never
the
use it.
most part,
Yeah,
I was sailing full rig.
yeah,
I came back. I took a break in 2010, and I came back to the NAs in 2016, and I set up the boat the way I know. And some people came here, hey, what do you think of the gens? What do you think of this way of doing it?
yeah.
And I said, I don't know. Just look as it
I
just
don't
seems
know
a
how to
bit
use it.
lower.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, because if you are overbending the upper spar, you are flattening the sail, you are depowering. It just feels slow. I just sail
yeah.
the boat the way I know, and as long as I'm strong and I can hike, you're not going
See,
to see me using a gentry.
all right. I haven't touched a sunfish since one midwinters in 2000. I touched it 2001 or 2002, and then I got married and I quit sailing for a decade, and I didn't touch it again until after I was divorced. And there were years I wasn't married or whatever, and I just didn't use the boat. And one of my first regattas I did after I got separated and divorced was Sunfish North Americans in Bay Waveland. Now, granted, I'm like 220 pounds from owning the restaurant and the bakery, so
Yeah.
I'm a fat boy. And of course, I show up with my 2010 boat. I rig it. I hadn't touched the gooseneck. I didn't touch the halyard since 2010. I hoisted it up. The gooseneck's still sitting at 17, just like it always was. You know, everybody's like, "No, that's not how we do it now." I'm like, "This is all I know. Don't teach me something new." I got like 64th out of 70 boats. I'm like, "Woo." Obviously, something's changed, and I just
Yeah,
really
but
suck.
some
So,
people are using it because it allows them to change gears when the conditions deteriorate.
yeah,
You can say deteriorate when they get windy.
yeah.
I bet you that
Well,
everybody in the top 10 of the world, the strong guys, the guys that are training and doing it the way I was doing it in the 90s, they don't need a gens rig.
I don't
The
need a
boat
gins
is
rig.
slower.
Yeah, I don't
It
need a
doesn't
gins rig.
matter what, I mean, David tried to convince me so many times. You know very well that a flatter sail, the power sail, a sail that, with the upper spar being so much,
It's so bendy.
it's so
Yeah,
bendy, it pops up in the leech. You
yeah,
need so much height going upwind and going
yeah.
downwind too, because
It
eventually you
just
get hit
twists
by a
open.
puff.
It
Yeah, it's
twists.
like
Yeah,
sailing a laser with the boom bang loose.
yeah.
So, I mean,
You
you don't
know,
have to be a rocket science to figure it out. I mean, if you're strong and you can hike, believe me, stay away
you
from the
don't.
gens.
Yeah. Well, we say all that, and you got all these Texas guys, and you got a Hank and Ash and Greg and Paul Forrester. You even got Mendelblatt. You got everybody using this new Go Fast Gus rig, and I don't know. They're all kicking my butt, but then again, I'm 215 pounds trying to jump in a sunfish.
I
And,
just know how to
you know,
do it without it. And
yeah,
uh,
y-
if,
yeah. Some of us old
maybe
school guys, we just can't. We can't
maybe when I'm
adapt, man.
60 and I'm sailing the boat, maybe I'll be a big promoter of the gods of God. But for now, no way.
I hear you. All right, so let's move on to. We're getting down to the last couple of questions. This thing's dragging on, and I got an ex-wife that's wearing me out about talking to the kids. So, uh, what are your thoughts on new people in sailing? What can we do to get more people in? What do we do to encourage them? Uh, you got any quick
I
tidbits?
mean, it depends on the environment. See, where we are, where I live right now, there's nothing I can do to
Yo,
get people
there's
into
not much you
sailing
can
because
do
it's
in Dothan, Alabama,
out.
dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's all football, fishing, and
Yeah,
that's it.
everybody's football, fishing, and killing deer and mud riding.
I think
But
this
there's a
summer,
lake near there, dude. You got to get them on the water somehow.
yeah, I think you got to look at the public schools do in Europe. Like I believe France has a really good high school sailing program that makes the sport very popular. But here's the other part. I'm not a big promoter of the government or using public money to, fund hobbies or activities. But in other countries, you
They
know,
do.
the
Yeah.
government actually buys the boat.
Yeah.
The government buys fleets of boats, and those are distributed among sailing and public sailing schools. That's how you make the sport popular. You see, here in the U.S., we are lucky enough that most parents, I would
Yeah.
say most, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I can see a lot of parents can afford buying an opti or a cheap sunfish for their kids. That's how you get them into the sport. I don't think we have in this country a structured system of sailing schools
Yeah.
like you would do like a baseball academy for the youth. I think and again, don't quote me on this because I'm not a big expert on the youth sailing system in the U.S. But I think
I'm quoting you.
most of the sailing programs in the U.S. come out of yacht clubs.
Oh
It's a
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
private effort, and yacht clubs are private. Not everybody can join a yacht club. I think a public sailing school it's one way to make the sport more popular
Yeah.
because again, the kid that parents,
It's
don't
all
make
about the
enough
money.
money.
It's all
You
about
know,
the
if they,
money, though. You know.
exactly. But if you get the kid encouraged to sail and try out on a sailing school without, with the government or the city, or maybe a company sponsoring a sailing school, okay? Because maybe that's one way to make the grow the sport. Let's be honest. I mean, back in the 90s and 80s, people were buying all these big keelboats, these 50, 70, 80 footers. You
Yeah.
are in the industry, you know how that has changed.
Yeah.
And there
No.
are less big boats these days. And I guess the smaller keelboat fleet is growing because that's what people can afford. Let's be honest, I can't even afford buying one of these BX Evas. Who's going to spend
Yeah.
$17,000 on a single-handed boat to learn how to sail? So I think you got to try out the cheaper boat that doesn't break. And there are many boats like that. I mean,
Pearson 26, baby, all the
the
way.
what?
The Pearson 26, man, for the win.
Any?
A boat built in the 1976, dude. They're great. You know.
Yeah. I mean, J24s can be recycled and
Uh,
you can do a lot with them on a sailing school. They're not cheap to maintain, but if you can't expect people are going to get introduced to the sport if those people that can afford to even join a yacht club,
yeah.
you can ask them to buy a boat.
I
So
mean,
there's got to be an organization, either a yacht club or a sailing school with a fleet. I think Birmingham Sailing Club does something like that. They have they got these summer sailing classes,
yeah.
and that's how they capture potential members.
Like
And
scholarship
they
kind
end up
of
buying their own
dragging new
boat.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how you grow the sport.
Yeah.
So maybe we need some sort of
National funding.
or a program
Right.
geared towards those that can afford to own a boat.
Yep. All right, hold on. I'm calling out James Appleton. All right. He is an ex-Olympic 470 sailor. He's now a congressman or something in Connecticut.
Cool.
I'm talking to you, James. Help get this funded. Push it through. I don't know. We need more money in sailing to fund things like this. So, all right. Well, listen, man. Everybody, I want to thank you for coming in and watching this, and hopefully this worked. Hopefully the live actually worked. I haven't checked. I've been too busy listening to Eduardo to check to see if the live actually happened. But if not, this is recorded, and I will post it instantly afterwards. But I want to thank Eduardo Cordero, 8-time Sunfish World Champion, multi-time Midwinter Champion, Pan Am Champion. He is just a great guy. Obviously, you can see he's got opinions. He's a fun guy. He's a great sailor. Eduardo, thank you.
My pleasure. It was great talking to you, man.
Yeah, you've always been a good friend of mine I don't know, forever. And I know Rod Favela, I interviewed him and Bill Draheim, and all he kept saying was, you got to get Eduardo. You got to get Eduardo. So now I finally got Eduardo. So,
Hey, great talking to you, man.
yeah, it was always great. And Eduardo, either way, after this is over, we're hang out, let's chit chat, and we'll do this again. Like you say, I want to hear more stories. 'Cause you have moved this channel a little more from the straight up interview, which, I got my little 20 questions line up, but with somebody like you, I can throw them out the book and just let you go.
It
So
was fun, man.
yeah,
Believe me.
this was fun. I enjoyed it, and you're like me. I know we both have had very similar lifestyles and similar lives, and it's great being able to have swap these stories and have fun. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
with that, everybody, I need subscribers. So Eduardo, you gonna
Yeah,
tell them?
please subscribe to this channel, and it's keeping everybody entertained during these strange coronavirus zombie
Whatever.
apocalypse days. So watch these videos; they're a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
yeah. I mean, between murder hornets, coronavirus,
Yeah,
riots, you name it. It seems like I'm actually I ordered a shirt that's got a picture of a dumpster and it's on fire, and underneath it just says 2020 because that's this year. Everything I planned for is shot. So,
yeah.
but all right, anyway, everybody, thank you. Like, subscribe. Please go to the channel, subscribe. I need subscribers. I want to keep this going full time every day, videos every day, new people every day, new stories, new things. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign us off. So, over, out, and bye bye. All right, now I've just got to find the hang up button. It's hidden under 15 windows I've got here. Now, bye.